The new iPhone 17 lineup has been released, and I have to say, this is one of the best upgrades in years, and I'm actually very excited. But it is also now very difficult to choose the right iPhone model because there are so many differences and value propositions. So in this video, I'm gonna go through 11 purchasing mistakes that you need to know in order to make the right choice, and then I'm actually gonna give you some real practical advice on which one to buy depending on what you really care about. With that, we are buying all of them and making hands-on reviews and camera comparisons, so make sure to subscribe. So let's jump right into the first mistake you need to avoid, which is thinking that you need to buy an iPhone 17 Pro model. When Apple was announcing the regular iPhone 17, I was actually calling it a Pro phone because this is the closest we have ever had a regular and Pro iPhone, with both being based on the same chipset, both having Wi-Fi 7, 8 gigs of RAM, and all the other things that they packed in here. This is a super incredible value, especially now that it has 256 gigabytes of storage, but the price stayed the same. More on this in just a bit. Moving on to mistake number 2, don't think that the 17 has fake hardware or software limitations like it has for many years in the past. Apple spent way too many years capping the screen at 60 Hz and not allowing an always-on display, even though the screen was an OLED, but now we have that super smooth goodness, the visible notifications, and even the insane 3000 nit peak brightness, plus the anti-reflectivity and scratch coatings. This display is a full Pro display. And now for number 3, we have to start talking about the new iPhone Air and how amazing it is, but don't make the mistake thinking that this phone is basically a thinner iPhone 17. It is not, and it's definitely not for most people, at least in my opinion. Apple did their very best to market it, even pushing things a bit too far in my opinion. It is incredibly thin and lightweight, and I really wanted to buy one, but there are just too many compromises for me, even compared to the cheaper iPhone 17. For example, there is only one speaker in the earpiece, so we no longer get dual stereo speakers, which we've had for many years, and that brings high volume and good sound quality, great for gaming and watching videos. Even the charging speed is slower than the rest of the iPhone 17 lineup, and because everything but the battery is in the camera bump all stacked, I am betting that there's gonna be a bunch of heat up there. And although it has the new C1X modem and they advertised it to be much faster than the C1, the modem is still worse than the regular iPhone 17. This is a luxury stylistic phone above all else. And now for mistake number 4, we have to talk about cameras, especially with the iPhone Air, because Apple's marketing department is going crazy this year, making everything sound new and amazing. Now, I have to give them credit for the new 18 megapixel front-facing cameras that's in all of the new phones, capturing both vertical and horizontal photos wider than ever before with better quality, and that's because of a large square sensor. I absolutely love that. With that though, they made the rear cameras sound super good, going as far as saying the iPhone Air had a dual camera and then practically a quad camera all in one, when in reality, this is actually the 3rd year that this sensor is being used in an iPhone, and it is a single camera. The same old one is an iPhone 17, but with this phone, at least you still have the cinematic mode, you have spatial video, you have macro photography with that ultra wide camera, all which is missing on the Air, which basically makes this camera capabilities the same as an iPhone 16e, the budget one. Now for the Pro iPhones, the only new camera in the rear is the 48 megapixel telephoto, which I am super happy about, but they also advertise it as an 8X instead of a 5X, but in reality, it is a 4X optical camera, which crops into 8, and honestly, I do think that is more useful. The 1X and the ultra-wide sensors are reused, but they are just 1 year old. And moving on to mistake number 5, do not assume that the new USB-C ports on the full 17 lineup is the same across the models, because the regular iPhone 17 along with the Air are still the very slow USB 2.0 speeds, which have been around for about 24 years now, making the iPhone 17 Pros 20 times faster. Now, not only that, but the Air is further gimped with slower charging, while the 17s can now charge to 50% in just 20 minutes. And moving on to mistake number 6, do not assume that the new A19 chips are similar because they have 2 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores for the CPU, and they're based on the same design. The A19 has a 20% jump over the A18, which is nice and hopefully doesn't get too hot, but the A19 Pros get up to a 40% improvement, which is crazy, but you have to be paying attention because this is over a sustained load because of the new thermal system, which will also help with screen dimming and hot temperatures, and I am super excited about that. With that said, don't make the mistake of thinking the iPhone Air, which has an A19 Pro chip, will perform as the A19 Pro in here. Honestly, I don't even know why they put it into this phone, maybe just for marketing. Since all the chips are in the camera plateau, they will get hot and they will throttle fast, and that's probably why Apple disabled one of the graphics cores, and they also limit the compute chips that are new. It might end up being slower than the A19 and the iPhone 17 in sustained loads, so definitely don't get this for gaming or for performance. Now, getting into mistake number 7, don't expect these phones to be indestructible since Apple said they are more scratch resistant with the best glass ever. They say this pretty much every year, but then my screen still gets scratched up if I don't use protection. So no matter which iPhone you get, our sponsor iBlazin has these Aries flip cases that have everything you need built into a single case, like a kickstand, screen protector, and a military grade protective case with MagSafe. What I like about this case is that you don't have to install a screen protector on your phone like other brands make you do. Instead, it's built right into the case with 9H tempered glass. On top of that, the case itself is really durable with raised edges that allow it to withstand 20-foot drops with ease. It also includes the built-in adjustable kickstand that is useful if you want to watch hands-free and you're still able to use MagSafe accessories thanks to stronger N52 magnets that achieve 1,800 grams of holding force. This case also has a precision camera control button that works just like the original with these really unique copper conductors that look awesome. So go ahead and check them out for yourself by using the links in the description and pinned comments below. Getting into mistake number 8, if you are somebody who hates large heavy phones like I do not think that you need to get the Air. Now yes, it will feel super thin in your hand like it does right now, but as far as weight, it is only 12 grams lighter than the regular iPhone 17, which is a very little amount. It's also both taller and wider than the iPhone 17 because of its slightly larger screen. Now, most people are going to put a case on their phone, and for good reason, so then the thickness will be increased as well. And for those considering the Pros, don't be scared about it looking so thick and bulky in Apple's advertisements with that huge camera bump and the massive battery inside. The weight did go up, but only by 5 grams, which isn't noticeable, and the thickness only went up by 0.5 millimeter. And that's also practically impossible to notice, and it's very well worth the extra battery. And that leads me to mistake number 9. Do not think that the iPhone 17 Pros have just gotten a downgrade because of the aluminum design instead of titanium like on the 16 Pros and in the new iPhone Air, or stainless steel like in the older ones. When Apple launched the 15 Pro Max in titanium, it was such a big marketing campaign and it created a lot of buzz to sell new phones, but in reality, it was a poor choice of material. Now yes, maybe the Air needs it because it is so thin, but for everything else, aluminum is way better than even stainless steel. Now the biggest reason is because of thermal performance. 2 years ago, I was saying that Apple needs to switch to aluminum because it dissipates heat dramatically better instead of trapping it inside, causing slowdowns and screen dimming, and this year they did just that and they advertised it. Because of this and the new vapor chamber cooling, the A17 Pro will be truly powerful, so that the material that used to just be used in their cheap phones is now perfect for the flagships. And as another positive, this also allows for milling, which means more space for a larger battery. And for mistake number 10, do not fall for Apple's iPhone Air battery life advertisements if you care about all-day battery. Now yes, the A19 Pro is efficient, and yes, they have made it slower. They put in a slower modem in there safe battery, but that still does not beat physics. The iPhone Air has a 3,149 milliamp hour battery if you get the eSIM only model, compared to around 3,700 on the smaller iPhone 17 and 5,088 in the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, even though Apple advertises 27 hours of video playback, that is actually downloaded on the phone with low screen brightness and everything turned off. Now, once you're actually using your phone like normal with background tasks and the like, batteries drain way faster. And if you start to push your phone, then really fast. There is a reason why they maximize the space for better battery life in the 17 Pros. And there is also a reason why, after saying that the battery lasts all day, they immediately advertised the new MagSafe battery pack designed only for the iPhone Air. Yeah, they did not make one for the 17 or the 17 Pros. And with this battery pack attached, the iPhone Air gets the same streamed video playback as a 17 Pro Max by itself, both at 35 hours, but it's now thicker and heavier with that battery than the Pro Max. Unfortunately, they don't give out other tests, but if you're pushing your phone and they heat up, which the Air will, then wireless charging slows down, it becomes less efficient, and of course, like I mentioned, you cannot charge this wired as fast as you can with the rest of the lineup. And lastly, for mistake number 11, do not think that Apple is raising prices on you. We were honestly shocked that so many of the releases stayed the same price. And now, yes, the iPhone Air is $999, and seeing the performance and the specs, I think this will be their highest profit margin phone. The iPhone 17 Pro Max price stayed exactly the same, and the regular 17 Pro went up by $100, but at the same time, it now starts at 256 gigabytes of storage instead of 128. So basically, they're forcing you to get the larger storage, which in 2025, I think you should be anyway. With that said, the iPhone 17 was the most surprising. The price stayed the same, but you now get 256 gig of storage at the base, which used to cost you an extra $100. So in theory, you just saved $100 if you would have upgraded anyway, or you got double the storage for longevity. And now let's finally get into the buyer's guide portion of this video, starting with who should actually buy the brand new iPhone Air. I know I dogged on it quite a bit throughout this video because as a tech enthusiast and a photographer, the specs are underwhelming, especially for the money, but not everybody is like me. There are so many people out there that don't use their phones to their limits, but they want something that is thin and beautiful for texting, watching shorts, or scrolling through social media. If you don't care about having good battery life, and you don't care about photography and just mainly use the 1x lens, and you don't mind paying extra money, this is a gorgeous new phone. And I'm glad that Apple is getting more creative and pushing the limits on what is possible. I think that this is probably a perfect phone for a smaller minority of people out there that care about looks and feel and style above all else. Now, the regular iPhone 17 model is for the vast majority of regular people, and honestly, even tech lovers now as well. Not only is it for those who are on a budget, but it's now by far the closest to the Pro phones we have ever had, while keeping the same price and low monthly payment with 256 gigs of storage. The chip is fast, the camera gives you flexibility, the battery life is better, and now the display finally has ProMotion with the same exact specs as the Pro phones. It is also lightweight and a really nice size. You really cannot go wrong with this phone, and I would highly recommend it. So who should buy the 17 Pro? Well, it is now really for pros and those who push their phones to the limit. If you're on your phone all the time, the battery life will be incredible. The aluminum design with vapor chamber cooling will allow for really good sustained performance for video recording, pro apps, and especially gaming. So it is perfect for that. You get super fast USB Type-C transfers in every single camera mode and option that can be used for professional work. If you really care about photography, it has got the best cameras in it. And if you want to have really good zoom and also the telephoto portraits, you need to have a Pro phone. So it's cool that the cameras are the same with the regular 17 Pro size. Now, if you want the absolute best battery life and thermal performance, the 17 Pro Max is the one that you should be getting, and that is the one that I'm gonna be enjoying as my daily driver. It is a beast of a phone, and you're getting a lot for your money as long as you're actually gonna use all those specs and features. So there you go, guys. If you're gonna be upgrading to an iPhone 17 or a 17 Air or one of the Pros, let me know what you are buying down below and let me know what you are upgrading from. Go ahead and click above to subscribe, check out one of those great videos, and we're gonna be making a bunch of new ones, so you guys definitely don't want to miss it. I will see you in the next video.